3, 4, 1.
I think that my brain is moving and it's like relaxed. This toy that I have at home, that it's like a ball and it closes and it opens.
I think it might move a bit.
I think that actually shows some deep insight.
John Everson is a research scientist at UC San Diego.
And here's the visual cortex. Even when you're just listening to music, your brain is not just sort of passively recording what comes in, it's actually actively engaging with the sound.
He and the San Diego Youth Symphony just wrapped up a 5-year study on the brains of kids who play music, like those ones you heard from at Kellogg Elementary School in Chula Vista. Everson plans to use the data comparing brain changes in youth who played music and those who didn't to answer this question.
Much the same way that, increased nutrition might change the path of growth of a child's height. Are there certain activities, such as music or other things, that might change the trajectory of growth of the brain?
The answer, he says, lies in the brain cortex, the outer noodly part.
It's almost like a crumpled ball of paper. It's wrinkled up so it can fit inside of our skull. But if you were to straighten all those wrinkles out, you'd see it's just a sheet of neural tissue. So what we're looking at is basically how different regions of that are growing or shrinking over time.
At a very basic level, the ear and the brain kind of work like my recording setup.
The microphone is picking up my sound waves. It's turning it into a voltage. So that's kind of like what the ear is doing. But then once we get into the computer, it's turned into a digital file, right? So it's just turned into numbers. So that's a pretty good analogy in some sense for how the brain is recoding things from what we call analog to digital.
But add movement or lyrics, and multiple parts of the cortex have to work together, like an orchestra. The better your orchestra, the better your academics. At least that's the hypothesis.
What we found, interestingly, was that the size of the motor cortex, this area that controls movement and planning of movement, predicted individual differences in the ability to perceive a musical beat. Okay, so it's suggesting that there's something about this connection between hearing and moving that may develop this ability to hear patterns in time. And that, of course, is really the foundation for learning language, is the processing of sound.
Subdivide!
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
Everson says another way music might help with learning is by giving you a tiny conductor for your brain orchestra. Research from another UCSD scientist shows when they improvise, musicians suppress activity in the parts of the brain that control their inner dialogue and make you overthink.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
We tend to think of brain building as muscle building, like just make everything bigger and better. But it's really about control. And one thing that this suggests that music helps kids learn is actually how to regulate their own brain.
Again, just a hypothesis. Everson is still in the beginning phases of data analysis.
Can we start and see?
But my research, albeit not peer-reviewed, seems to back him up.
Music did change his life.
Scales it is.
Carol Medina's son, Anthony, has autism.
Bringing him to orchestra here, it just opened a whole new world for him. Had new friends, opened his mind. We started noticing a lot of parts of his learning expanding more.
I don't have 24.
The 12-year-old caught up with his Kellogg Elementary classmates in reading, and he seems to have that tiny conductor helping him regulate his thoughts and emotions.
It helps me when I have stress or more stuff. It's like a good feeling.
Everson and the San Diego Youth Symphony plan to release their findings nationwide to inform the push for arts in public schools.
I just really loved playing music. It's one of the best things I ever had in my life.
Megan Burks, KPBS News.